RealWorld 2025 in Las Vegas. Don't worry. Today we've got you covered with the highlights, insights, and must-known takeaways. I'm thrilled to be joined by two incredible multifamily leaders who were on the ground experiencing it all. Our guest speakers, Shart McCurdy, President at Summit Property Management, and Kevin Owens, President of Property Management at RKW Residential. Together, we're going to unpack everything from groundbreaking AI advancements and hands-on strategies to the unforgettable networking and community building moments that make RealWorld such a unique event. So let's dive right in. RealWorld is RealPage's flagship annual conference, uniting multifamily leaders, innovators, and partners for 3 days of strategy, tech, and connection. Attendees explored cutting-edge product launches, data-driven insights, and forward-thinking solutions to today's property management challenges. The event kicked off with a focused user group sessions and hands-on paid trainings designed to deepen platform expertise. And Monday launched with CEOs Dana Jones delivering a high-energy keynote that set the tone for innovation, followed by the exclusive executive exchange for senior leaders, a full slate of breakout sessions, and a lively welcome reception to connect attendees. Tuesday kept the momentum going with tech journalist David Pogue's engaging keynote. More targeted breakout sessions continued, a celebratory women's luncheon spotlighting leadership and inclusion, and lastly, a high-energy closing party to wrap up the event in style. So let's open up this panel with an icebreaker type of question. And of course, ladies first. So Shar, if you had to describe RealWorld in one word or a phrase, what would it be and why?
So for me, the word that comes to my mind is energizing. So RealWorld 2025 was just such a powerful reminder of how innovation is happening in our space today like never before. And then the energy from the sessions and the networking, et cetera, it was just really contagious. And it left me feeling really inspired. I came back ready to take some bold steps for our organization and to implement some things that we didn't actually have implemented previously. So super energizing for me.
I love that word. It did have high energy. So Kevin, how about you? One word or phrase?
Yeah, so this is not cheating, by the way. Mind blowing is my one word. It's hyphenated, so it's still one word, just in case you're counting at home. It was mind blowing. Look, I lead an organization who is owned by a tech company. I'm in it every day. We live it. We are innovating for the future all the time. And to see what RealPage is doing is incredible. And so it was mind blowing. I cannot imagine what the next year is going to look like because in the short time that we've been really ramping up on the AI world and the tech world, RealPage has obviously been doing a lot of great work. So my mind was blown, and I think we're at the tip of the iceberg.
I love that. I love that so much. So, on that same topic of, what you took the overall impression of RealWorld, was there one moment, like a wow moment that stuck with you guys from the start? And Shar, I'll go back to you for this to see where's your wow moment from that week?
So I think a standout moment for me was the fireside chat with OpenAI and RealPage, and just seeing how AI is being thoughtfully integrated just into our industry and hearing directly from leaders shaping that. It was exciting and also validating because, like Kevin, our company is fairly tech savvy and on some cutting edge items, but this was super exciting from that standpoint. We're not afraid of technology, but this was reassuring and inspiring at the same time.
Awesome. So Kevin, what was your wow moment?
Yeah, there were several of them. I would say the first one, and the one that I probably remember the most, is the moment during Dana's opening presentation or keynote where we met the Lumina workforce for the first time. Again, when you look at what's been happening and the steps that have already been taken, it's pretty incredible. And so it was spectacular just to not only watch the interaction and then watch them not only interact with the people on the stage, but with each other is kind of incredible.
I love that. You just connected both the keynotes. There's a lot of work that goes into both of those. And so those are your wow moments. That makes us very proud over here at RealPage. So the conference did kick off with user groups on Sunday and the paid trainings. Did you guys get to attend any? And what value do you think that they bring to operators? Shara, I can start with you. Ladies first, right?
Sounds good. I'll keep going. Our team took advantage of several of the trainings, mostly to explore on a deeper level some areas of our current operations and how we could improve those and get efficiencies. So it opened up the floor for advantages that we weren't really using. And one example for me, we have a centralized team, but we weren't using the renewal centralization tool. So that was an aha moment and can't wait to implement it.
Yeah, I love it. I know Sarah from your team, she was in one of the user groups where we did a roundtable. It was actually a lot of fun. It was almost like speed dating. So good stuff coming out of those. So Kevin, to you, did you get to attend any of the user groups or any of the paid trainings? And what did your team think of them?
Yeah, I didn't myself, but my team did, and I'll tell you, they came away energized. I'll take Char's word for that one. I think they set the right tone for the whole conference. When users get to come in and really take advantage of the right mix of learning and fun and high energy conversation and networking with other folks who are in it every single day, using the platforms, using the programs every single day, and kind of not only learning from the instructors but from each other. I think it's a win for everybody. So I got great feedback from the participants from our team that were there, and set the tone for the rest of the conference.
I love that you just mentioned that. That's actually my next question. So maybe I'll kick that one over to Shar since you answered it, Kevin. When we kick off our annual event with these focused trainings and the user groups, how do you feel like that really sets the stage up for the rest of the conference?
I feel like it just gives you the platform to get enough nuggets that you're wanting more. I'm probably not articulating that great, but it just gives you enough to say, what else can I find here? And so the whole conference is like that for me, going from one page or one place to another, finding nuggets that we're going to implement.
Yeah, I think they call that the tease in radio terms. It's a great tease for what's coming the rest of the conference. Yeah.
That's a good one. So day two did kick off with Dana's keynote, our CEO and president, and she really had a powerful one, as you guys know, and it was heavily on our innovation and what we've been able to accomplish thus far and what's to come. But what messages resonated most with you from her talk? Shar, over to you.
Sure, I'll jump in again. I think when she said that we need to embrace the discomfort in innovation, it really resonated. So she challenged us just, to adapt to it, but to also just change our mindset and make sure we brought that back to our team. It's here to gain efficiencies and not take away that human touch. So for me, it's changing our industry faster than ever before. And that's, again, exhilarating. But the fact that we're going to keep that human touch is a big part of it. Just all of that stood out a lot for me.
Yeah, that is a really big, strong message that Dana is definitely passionate about. So, Kevin, same question to you. What most resonated with you?
Yeah, I think to build on what Char said, I think the fact that Dana was very specific that nothing that RealPage is doing is with the intent of replacing people. I think there's so much talk about that in the world right now, that to hear that message, I think resonated with a lot of folks. So that was one for sure. The other thing that jumped out to me a lot wasn't necessarily one statement, but it was a clear commitment, but beyond just a commitment, which, to me, commitment is words. You can say it all day, but it's the heavy investment that has been made by RealPage in innovation. That's the action. We can talk about things all day, but until we actually put our resources behind it, it's really just smoke and mirrors. So I really appreciate her emphasis on not just talking about what the plans are or what we were thinking about or talking about doing last year and we've done this year, but we've actually invested in it and made it happen. That was pretty cool.
Awesome. So you both had access to the executive exchange. What key themes or insights came from those senior leader discussions? I definitely would love to know.
Yeah, for me, there's so much. Being in that room with that group is hearing all the ideas in the conversation is fantastic. But a theme that kind of stood out was how we're going to shift from proactive to reactive operations, and how AI and everything that RealPage is giving us, the data like never before, gives us that opportunity. And I feel like it's a game changer all around.
Yeah.
that too. I think one of the things from my perspective, just being in the room, as Char mentioned, with other leaders, interacting, conversing, networking with them, hearing what they've got going on and the challenges they're facing is beneficial. The entire time we were together, I was constantly reminded of the importance of really thinking about the right ways to implement new technology, to implement new initiatives, in such a way that really is supportive of our teams and benefits and helps our teams. Sometimes we get so excited about new technology that we just kind of rush it through and don't think about it as much as we need to. And we've got to consider that people component constantly. So I was constantly reminded about that during the entire time there.
I love that. That peer-to-peer is really also where you learn a lot. In fact, we have a comment here from Janine Zapata of Lynn Company. As a beta tester for Prospect AI, for me, it was seeing where RealPage is leading the AI charge across all platforms to really make it an organic ecosystem. I can't wait. Thank you so much, Janine, for listening and for your comment. We really are super excited about all the things RealPage is partnering with our partners on.
And thank you to Janine for sharing when she was there as well, because she was sharing some of her experiences. That was pretty cool.
That's right. She was in the executive chain.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So, were there any breakout sessions on Monday that you guys found especially actionable for your particular businesses, or that your teams were able to give you feedback in? We can't be everywhere all the time, right? But
yeah, so we sent a couple of people to the accounting and procurement session, and it's automating your cool bank recs, automated PO creations based on the make ready board. That was just like and we were super excited about having that coming to life for us and what that's going to do for our organization going forward. I hate to use the word again, but it's like it's a game changer again. It's going to make a difference. Our teams are going to be able to focus on different things because these processes are already handled. And again, just great automation for us.
Yeah, awesome. And Kevin, how about you? Did your teams attend any and give you some feedback?
They did. To your point, I wasn't able to because I was participating in the executive exchange. I do think maybe for the roadmap for RealPage, we could talk about cloning us and perhaps allowing us to participate in more than one thing. Maybe something you could add to the list. My team really enjoyed the AI agents and the breakout session around those. Agree with Char. The accounting one was really important and impactful to them. The operations AI agent is also very informative, and the team's excited about that. And the maintenance, I think those three are the ones that stood out to our team. And I think we're going to be taking some things back to the office to begin working on ourselves pretty quickly here.
Awesome. So day 3 opened with tech journalist, Emmy Award winner, CBS correspondent, and best-selling author David Pogue. He's so funny. But his keynote brought a unique outside perspective where he framed the future of AI with humor and clarity. The stage was set for something truly transformative. And as the conversations shifted towards RealPage partnership with OpenAI, we witnessed a standout moment at RealWorld, a fireside chat that Shar mentioned earlier that brought together these 3 powerhouse voices in tech and AI. Now, if you don't know David Pogue, he moderated a dynamic conversation with Ashley Kramer, VP of Revenue at OpenAI, and our very own CIO at RealPage, Lance French. And Ashley's cross-functional leadership from GitLab to Amazon gives her a rare lens on how organizations can responsibly scale AI. And then Lance, with his decades of experience in digital transformation, offered a grounded view of how AI is reshaping property management. And of course, David, he brought his signature blend of wit, clarity, and storytelling that made it even the most complex ideas feel accessible. So let's take a quick listen to a clip from that session.
So, Ashley, you're from OpenAI. So, on the great scale of the dawn of AI to like what it's gonna be, where are we?
Yeah, I think we're at a really exciting time. AI has been around, this well, for quite some time. But we're really at this inflection point where the models that underpin AI are becoming faster, smarter, and as a result...
What do you mean by a model?
The large language models that underpin all of the applications of AI on top.
Can you
get to that? We'll get to that in a second. So the models
Yeah.
faster, cheaper, smarter. And how do you make it more accessible to everyone? There are different applications that go on top. So you mentioned it earlier, ChatGPT is OpenAI's version of how do we make this AI that sits deep within models more accessible to everyone? How many people in here have used ChatGPT before, whether in personal? So it's good number, still growing. And that's because we've made it free. We've made it accessible so you can understand how it can be your personal assistant, a knowledge base for you. And because of that, we're at this point where AI is less intimidating. It doesn't take businesses getting data together and making it available to you only at work. It is part of everyday lives. And I believe that will continue to grow and more as more applications like what RealPage has been working on are released to the world.
Gotcha. And Lance, the stuff that you guys unveiled yesterday, these are AI agents. How is that different from regular AI?
Well, it is different, but there's also similarities. So we've been building in the AI space for 20 years. Machine learning, traditional models. We've really been a leader.
You did not start in 2023.
I did not. Nor did RealPage. But the change that you described of bringing in generative AI, we were then able to start embedding that in our products. So things where we could talk about how to operate our systems. They weren't as complex as that stop sign or the parking sign, but they could be complex. So now we could simplify how you work through it. We're now taking the next evolution, which is working with OpenAI to develop agents that work in a space like leasing or resident or operations. But where it's different is that our solution is actually a platform enterprise. So deep data, and then these agents work together, not in a handoff where agent one has to teach agent two, but in a proactive way. So you can see the full life cycle of a resident from the time they're a prospect to all the way through the leasing to how that's interacting with operations to the person that has a maintenance request. So look, my air conditioner's not working. Oh, we see that's happened 3 times. We're going to take care of it. And that experience is much different. So that whole notion of agents being different than just a bolt-on in a vertical space, but actually working together as a workforce, supplementing human teammates. So that's how we see that differently in terms of how it's evolved. And then this notion of our Lumina workforce.
So after hearing that exchange, what stood out to you most about Ashley's perspective on responsible AI adoption and how you see RealPage's partnership with OpenAI shaping the future of our industry? Kevin, I think I'll start with you on this one.
You know, the term responsible adoption is something that really resonated with me. I think she mentioned accessibility as an important concept. She used the word intimidation, and I think that's something that we really need to be thinking about. The reality is that everybody doesn't have the same comfort level with all of these things that are happening. And there's some fear. There's some folks that have some scary thoughts about it. And I think the ability to make it less intimidating is going to be really important. And I think the partnership that RealPage has with OpenAI is going to be game changing. OpenAI is a leader in the space, obviously. RealPage is a leader in their space. And I think the combination of the two groups working together are going to make dynamic strides, and I'm excited about what the future looks like.
Awesome. Shar, same question to you.
Yeah, no, Kevin said it fantastic. My thoughts are almost identical, so I don't know that I have anything to add. I did make notes when I was in the room about accountability and about how we implement it responsibly, and how I felt RealPage was headed in the right direction with the OpenAI, and you articulated it perfectly.
Awesome. Well, our 3rd annual Women's Luncheon was more than just a gathering this year. It was a powerful call to action. With the rise of agentic AI, as we're talking about, reshaping the future of our work, this signature event invited multifamily professionals to reflect not only on how we lead teams, but how we lead ourselves. It was hosted by RealPage's Chief Customer Officer, Tatina Ott-Adams, and featuring keynote speaker Christy Uffelman, a best-selling author, TEDx speaker, and CEO of Edge Leadership. The luncheon delivered bold insights, authentic connections, and a renewed sense of purpose. With over 350 attendees, it was clearly a standout moment. Shar, how do you think this intimate event like the Women's Luncheon can continue to honor and elevate women in multifamily, especially around the leadership and inclusion part?
Yeah, for me, leadership isn't always about strategy, if you will. It's about the connection. It's about providing the opportunity. And there are so many brilliant women at this conference. And having real conversations whenever we have the opportunity is just priceless. So that face-to-face, or at times when you're facing challenges, you have that resource, you have that connection. Things are, I've said it several times, it's just such a rapid pace that we're in today. And having those relationships to talk through how those things affect your company, how they affect you personally, it's absolute greatness. So I'm appreciative of the fact that RealPage does that annually and that we get to be a part of it.
So, Kevin, I understand you weren't able to attend, but what perspective do you think that male leaders can take from that session?
Yeah, I didn't get that invite. Deservedly so. I'll tell you, I'll start with this. I am surrounded by brilliant, strong leaders who happen to be female. It starts at home. I have a wife and 3 daughters at home that keep me in line. And they are exactly who I would want to work with if we work together in a professional setting. At work, our executive team, from our CEO, Jess Beck, to Julia and Nicole and Joya and Amy, brilliant thinkers, minds, creative, the initiative, the drive that this team has is incredible. I've had so many female mentors in this business. Sharon Hatfield jumps to mind as a mentor of mine. I think us guys need to do a couple of things really simply. Involve women in everything we're doing. The fact of the matter is that we're better when female leadership is a part of what we're doing. And so I would encourage men to give them the opportunity. Let them show what they can do. And what I believe will happen, it's happened to me, is you will be glad you did. That's how I would put it.
All smiles over here from me and Shar. We love to hear that. We do have another comment from Paul Bergeron, content strategist, business reporter, and connector for many industries. His question is, how challenging has hiring for the AI thrust been? Are you hiring outside the apartment industry? Are companies hiring away from their competitors? I'm assuming, Paul, that is driven to Kevin and Shar, because it's not me. I don't hire anybody at RealPage, but hoping you guys could shed a little bit of color on that in terms of hiring.
I will give it a shot to start.
Okay.
Sorry, Shar. So I mentioned earlier, we are owned by a tech company, and so we have technology running through our veins as an organization. And so our goal is to hire the best possible resource, the best possible individual, the best possible leader from any industry that fits the need that we have in any certain role. So when it comes to AI iteration and building platforms and everything related to that, we are industry agnostic. We're looking for the best of the best, and we can teach them property management. And so we're looking for the best everywhere. Our goal is not to poach. We're not looking intentionally to poach. We are fortunate that we have folks reaching out to us for positions. I won't turn them away, but our job is not to poach industry-specific candidates. Our job is to find the best people possible, and that's what our goal is. That's what we do.
Sure.
Perfect.
No,
we have a very similar approach. Some of our hires have been from schools, from other industries, from within the industry. So I would say we're doing everything Kevin's doing as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Paul, for listening and for your question. So thinking back to the breakout sessions on Tuesday, I'm not sure if you guys were able to attend any, but if you were or your teams were there any aha moments that you are going to bring back to the other teams that maybe weren't as fortunate to come to RealWorld this year? Kevin, I'll start with you.
I think.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You go.
All right, I'll go. So yes, I mean there were several aha moments. My team listed many of them for me. I think the one that stood out in my discussions with the team who participated in so many of the sessions that were happening on Tuesday is in our haste, and it's a haste that needs to be there to move rapidly and expeditiously toward the future. We need to be really thoughtful about the impact to our teams. We need to make sure that they are involved in the process. We need to make sure that we're not rolling them out too quickly, that our teams can absorb and learn and execute at the right level because we're not giving them too much to do at one time. And I think that we need to be open and willing to talking about the very real fear that people have still about AI and the fact that technology may be taking my job one day. There's some truths that we need to be willing to talk about. The truths include potential options for less people-focused roles and tasks to be done by AI and technology. The reality is we have a responsibility to help our teams find their niche in our companies, our organizations, in our industry, either way. And so it's a combination of honest and transparent communication and of providing the path for our teams to find their place in our industry. Because I promise you, as a people-focused industry, there is going to be room for the right people, and we want to make sure they have the place in it.
For sure. So, Shar, I saw you attending a couple of
Mm.
sessions throughout RealWorld, and from the ones that you did you hear any success stories from other operators that inspired you to think differently about tech adoption or AI?
Yeah, for sure. We came back and we've had several conversations about the fact that we need to reiterate to our teams that any new process can have locky times, especially something that's automation and AI and new systems. And so we need to reiterate to them, it's okay, it's going to be rocky. We're going to get through it. There's the other side, and it's so worth it when we get there. That it might be a little painful along the way. And so we need to make sure that message is heard and they feel comfortable, and the fact that it's a little painful occasionally. And then we also came back and talked about there were several people. We've consolidated a lot of services here at our company, but there are other things that are consolidated that we haven't either gotten to yet or hadn't thought of. And so I'm certainly anxious to connect and get more insight to that, to see what that would look like for our organization and to see if it's a possibility.
For sure. So this is I think it was my seventh Real World. So I've been around a lot, a long time, when we used to call it the Hall of Solutions. Now it's called the Real Expo, where, you can RealPage is showcasing our new innovations. You can connect with customer support or even our vendor partners. And it's always buzzing with new ideas or those showcases of the new product. Was there a booth or a product demo that sparked excitement for you guys, or something that you could just bring back to our events team and say, you got to bring back the hat bar? That was amazing. I'll start. Kevin, Shar. Okay, I'll start with Shar.
We went from booth to booth just with excitement. So I can't tell you that there was one that we liked, but I would be running out the door, finding my peers and saying, you have to come see this, and plugging them in when it was for their role or whatever. The accounting, the facilities, just everything. So very exciting.
Awesome. Kevin, what about you?
Yeah, I'll start with the hat bar. I think the hat bar was pretty great. My team raves about that still. They were pretty creative with the decorations and how they built their hats. That was a lot of fun. Definitely bring that back, maybe,
Yeah.
as a suggestion. From a learning standpoint, I go back to the AI agent conversation. Specifically the two booths that were eye-opening to me were the maintenance and the accounting. I think just the impact I think they are going to have in the industry and in our business specifically is going to be pretty incredible. I also want to give a shout out to the customer success support training team. Their booth's always full of energy, and I go back a ways with Topher. And he always brings the energy, and I love spending time with that group because everything we're learning is a lot more fun because they're providing the training. So I want to give a shout out to them as well.
Oh my gosh, he's going to absolutely love that shout out. Thank you for that, Kevin. They even had like a claw machine.
Yes.
And that
Yeah.
had a line like almost all the way through the entire
Yeah, it was hard to get there. Yeah,
Incredible.
that's right.
But it is high energy, which was, your word for Shar for the event, and it certainly didn't disappoint.
Yep.
So outside the sessions, what was the most valuable networking or maybe a peer-to-peer conversation that you had during RealWorld? Char. I'm just going to keep
I'm
the
afraid to
trend. We're
go
just going to
first.
start with you every time now.
Sounds good. So I had a couple that stuck out. One was, again, the conversation with someone about centralization strategies and what they're doing and what we're doing. And it was just candid and forthright. So it was really good to kind of take a peek into their operations and what's working for them and what's not and why. And then there was also another gentleman, and hopefully he was complaining about some legislative issues that were going on in his state. And so I connected him with someone else in his state. I said, you've got to get involved. You've got to be an advocate for our industry. And hopefully he's made that connection. Hopefully the two of them are going to be working to get some resolution, hopefully, for them. So both many very valuable conversations while I was there.
That's amazing, Shar. I love that story. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah,
Kevin,
that
what
is
about
awesome.
you?
I think, the networking piece was one of the better parts of a great conference, especially during the executive exchange. And I had several conversations with individual leaders from organizations who are trying to find the right way to implement some form of that centralization concept. And centralization means so many things to so many people. And one of the things that I shared with the individual I spoke with is that I don't look at it as a centralization framework anymore. I look at it as optimization. It's business. We are constantly finding ways or trying to find ways to be more efficient, more effective, produce better results, whether it's service, our revenue, our NOI, our other measures or metrics that we're trying to achieve on a regular basis. And this is another one of those iterations in how do we improve ourselves. And so I think as we discussed it with 4 or 5 different people, it was more along the lines of maybe we reframe our thinking a bit from let's identify which part of our business we want to centralize to more of a framework of how can we achieve a more optimal approach to business. And I think if we really look at it that way, we agree that might be a better approach. So the tools that RealPage is working on and everything we've seen are going to help us do that. And I think if we look at it from that perspective, it might be a little different.
Awesome. Those buzzwords are big, right? The centralization, AI, and if you can
Yep.
spin it, great, but definitely work hard on that when it comes to the people. So one of my favorite parts of RealWorld, I mean, there's so many, but is the closing party. So the welcome reception and the closing party created huge moments of connection for me. What role do you think that they have in building lasting relationships within our industry for you both? Char.
Thanks. I said it gets you beyond the business card when you get into those events. It gives you the opportunity to really have some conversations over a beverage or whatever. And my team, for a month, planned what they were going to wear. It was the talk of our office. So it was a little consuming. So I could not wait to get to the closing party and see what everyone had on. That was certainly fun, but it's a good time, but it's also the ability to really connect and to get to know someone on a level that you wouldn't have sitting in a room with them in a training session or et cetera. So it's very valuable. We're grateful that you do it.
Yeah. Kevin?
I agree completely. I think it's easy to forget sometimes in our daily grind as we're trying to make decisions and figure out the way forward and do the right thing for our people. It's easier to forget that our colleagues and yes, even our competitors are actually people. They're people. And to get the chance in a social setting, in an event setting, to get to know them as moms and dads and sons and daughters and grandparents and aunts and uncles and friends, it's pretty cool. And it enables us to see a different side of people, to open up a little bit more, to talk about things that aren't related to the work that we're doing every day, and to learn what really makes people tick. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny. Carmen Smith from your team is a
Yep.
very dear friend of mine. We're both in Greenville, South Carolina, and we always joke that we have to fly 3,000 miles away from our hometown just to see each other.
Right.
But yeah, it definitely opens up for that connection and lets everybody unwind after a
Right.
busy couple of days
Yeah.
at the conference.
Relaxation is great too. That's
For
right.
sure.
Yeah. So what is one actionable strategy or idea from RealWorld that you guys may be implementing in the next 6 to 12 months? Sure.
Well, for us, hopefully someone's listening. We want to beta test everything that you guys are rolling out. So big hint. We definitely want to explore the centralized operation features and just how that's going to benefit our current operations. But the facilities, the accounting platform, just so much more. We're ready. We're your people. Come on, bring it to us.
I love to hear that. What about you guys, Kevin?
Yeah, I think, the beta testing thing is, if there's an option to volunteer for that, I think we'd be in line for that as well. I think our goal is to continue what I think we've started as an organization, which is to really identify the ways that technology, AI specifically, can enhance our operations, to enhance who we are, the service we provide to customers and clients, and to help our teams understand it better, and to work with it as a tool versus being so scared that it might take their job away from them. So it's really, the conference was a really good reminder to me, a confirmation to me that we're doing the right things in that regard, and that the innovation that our tech partners are really undertaking right now are going to let us do that. So really excited about the next 6-12 months.
Yeah, me too. So for those who couldn't attend, why do you think RealWorld is a must for multifamily leaders going forward? Shar.
So we definitely feel like RealWorld. If you're a RealPage user, you have to be there. If you want to stay ahead, connect with the innovators, and come back with what I call real strategies to implement, you just have to go. Just not an option.
I love that. Real strategies. Kevin, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to use 5 words. I'll probably use a few more after that, but RealPage actually uses some of these words, and I think they fit perfectly. It's insight, it's innovation, it's connection. I'll add learning and fun. I mean, the reality is that everything that you need as a RealPage user is there. And as Shar said, I think you have to be there. You've got to be there to not only learn more about what is currently happening, get help with things you might be struggling with, but also to see the path forward. But the interaction and connection with other users is big as well. So I think that's a big part of it. And frankly, if you're not a current user and you are interested in ways that your organization can better support your teams, your customers and residents, your clients, your owners, I highly recommend you give it a shot there too, because I think you're going to see things at RealPage and the RealWorld conference specifically that you won't see elsewhere.
Love that. So this next question it's less about RealPage, but maybe just market trends or triggers that we should be looking for. So if you had to predict one trend or shift that we'll be talking about at RealWorld 26, what do you think it would be and why? Shar?
So for me, I feel like it's going to be hyper-personalization. AI and data are just enabling us to tailor resident experiences at a scale, again, like we've never previously been able to. And so I definitely think it's the next frontier, if you will, in resident satisfaction and retention, and just giving them an experience like they've never had. And we're going to be able to bring that to them very quickly, in my opinion.
Shar, I think you just made the next buzzword for personalization. I think
And that's one word, so it's hyphenated. It's one word, I'm telling you.
All right, same question to you, Kevin.
Yeah, I don't think I'm nearly smart enough to predict the future like that. It's almost impossible. One of the things I said in the executive exchange is, we've always had change in our industry. The speed at which change is happening today is so different. It's like when they hit the light speed button on Star Trek and the stars disappear behind you because you're going so fast. It's really happening fast. I think one of the things that we might see in the next year is a slight shift away from talking, the buzz, the talking about AI and talking about things that are coming and talking about how it's going to impact the industry, and more focus on the actual work of implementing the AI concept and other things. So rather than asking, what are you considering doing with AI, or how are you using AI, or what are you doing with AI? I think the conversation is going to be more along the lines of, here are the 5 things we're doing as an organization right now to implement AI, and here's how it's helped us improve already. So I think that conversation is going to shift that way.
That'll be really exciting to see that data too. So
So.
I'm excited for that time. Well, thank you all so much for joining Multifamily Talks Live. We're excited to continue this series and offer up valuable conversations and topics that you can expect monthly. And make sure to follow us on LinkedIn for updates on upcoming live conversations. And we hope that everyone enjoyed the RealWorld 2025 recap that you can't miss and gained actionable strategies with AI advancements, innovative solutions, and how to stay ahead in multifamily. So please come join us next year. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day. See you next month.